Hello, and welcome to the Awaken Feminine podcast. I'm your host, Kaki Lee, and today I have the beautiful 𝐆ü𝐥 Sönmez back with me. She was on my podcast a little while ago, but I'm so excited to have her back on. 𝐆ü𝐥 is a transformational coach, mindfulness expert, and master energy healer. Welcome back.
Hello. Hi, Kaki, and hi, everyone. I'm happy to be back.
I'm excited to talk about the topic that you've chosen. But before we get started, I would really love for you to, introduce yourself a little bit more to our audience and tell us where you're joining me from.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. This is 𝐆ü𝐥. As you see the coffee in my hand, it's a bit early for me here. I'm in Luxembourg, in the middle of Europe. I'm joining from Luxembourg. And so I have been working on different areas of self-development, healing, and coaching for more than 10 years now. And I think last 6 years I've been sharing it with others, and I've been working with others as well. My journey started actually like most of the people, right? We don't start doing self-discovery or self-healing or anything unless we hit something. So I was the same actually. I had this amazing job and I had this amazing marriage, and my life was looking picture perfect from outside. But I started to have some health issues and some injuries, health issues over and over. And there were some operations that I needed to take. And that was kind of a wake up call for me with some diseases. And from there, I looked alternative solutions in order not to get these operations. And this is how I started my journey, and I fell in love with it. I was just learning and observing and using it for myself to change my life completely. And it happened actually. I changed the country that I live in. I'm originally Turkish, but I moved to Luxembourg with my job. And then I found my soulmate. This is why you say another surname under my name. And it really helped me to shift and transfer my life. And I realized that we make ourselves stuck for a very long time. And how can I help people to get out of the stuckness? So with one sentence, actually, I'm doing all the things related to get people unstuck. I don't know even if it's the English word though.
Yeah, unstuck. We use that definitely. So, when you work, do you usually work in English or like use, I don't know what language they speak in Luxembourg, but
In Luxembourg, we speak three languages: German, French, and Luxembourgish. I don't speak any of those. I learn a bit Luxembourgish, but I'm very, very basic. I do everything is English. Yeah, my base is
awesome.
English. I have a couple of national athletes from Turkey. They're also playing in different teams within Europe. But as they're Turkish and I am Turkish, we use Turkish. But 80% of my clients, we speak English.
Oh, nice.
And we
Okay.
understand each other some way.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, Gul, I want to ask you this question. I've asked you before last time you came on, but I know things have changed since you last came on. So, the question is, what is your definition of an awakened feminine in this current chapter of your life?
Yeah, I really like how you framed the question because we were talking with Kaki before going live. Probably the audience will feel us. 2023 was very heavy. It was a very heavy year. Most of the things went unplanned. Many people, including me as well, we had health crisis or families had health crisis. So we felt like everything is going down. So my definitions, the way I see healing, the way I see empowerment changed drastically after 2023. So for me, for an empowered woman, actually, or awakened woman, for me, someone is in the process is learning how to learn and accept herself, how to love herself, and realize that it's an everyday job. And the win is not to reach anywhere. The win is actually to feel aligned. Like you feel like, I'm aligned, I'm learning, I'm accepting, I'm processing each and every day. So this is my definition now.
Hmm. I love it. It's simple, but it's not easy to do, but it totally resonates. Yeah, definitely. The acceptance and the love, self-love, it is definitely an everyday job.
Exactly. Because what I realized last year, when something starts to work, we have tendency to take it for granted and then we stop. You start to do meditation, it's working, then you stop. You attract a soulmate and you're like, whoa, I'm done, then you stop. But having a soulmate relationship is an everyday job. Loving yourself is an everyday job. There are always people that are going to trigger you, and forgiving them is an everyday job. So when I realized that, okay, it's not just one time, it's an everyday job. How can I make it more simple and easy
Mm.
so that I can do it every day?
Yeah. Oh, well, while we're talking about this, before we jump into the topic, how do you make it easier for yourself to do the self-love and the forgiveness? What are some tips you might be able to give to our audience?
Yeah, so I think the one thing that really shifted me when my father was diagnosed with a disease that there's no cure, right? This disease only evolves and etc. So there's no cure, and it happened last year. And I love my dad, so it kind of really shook my core, let's say that. And the days were very dark, and I was trying to find a way to motivate myself. And I think through this time, I just realized sometimes motivation is just in simplicity. We overcomplicate the story so much, especially in the healing world. Like you need to go over trauma and drama again and again in order to help yourself. I just realized that it comes with three things. One is you make a decision. Like you make a decision with yourself under the creator or God, whatever you say, just with yourself. You know what? Happiness is a choice. And I'm going to do whatever I can. I'm going to put the effort from myself in order to be happy, to have a healthy life. So I think the first thing is just you have this desire. But I'm not saying to say it, like really, really feel it. Sometimes you just say enough is enough. I'm going to find a way out. So this type of putting the intention, the out there universe was the first thing. Second thing, what I realized that time, although I know it, and I'm teaching about it. Sometimes we all do it, right? When you speak about all the negative things that's happening, and the things are real, right? You're not inventing those things; they're real. But when you keep talking about these things and go over, poor me, this, it's like a magnet from the universe. You attract them more. You attract them more. And I realized, okay, I need to really shift my language to gratitude, 100%. No matter, oh yeah, he's sick, but he's alive. This happening, but I can go home. Trying to see the gratitude in every day. And there were some days that I was really crying and forcing myself, because when it's just you don't feel good about your job, it's a bit easier pain to deal with. But someone that you love dearly and you have nothing to do, there's no cure there, nothing to do. You need to accept and just pray that the best thing can happen, right? So that time, I think the practice of gratitude really, really helped me to change things very drastically. And I immediately bring it to my work. I start to give it to my clients. Like, if you have an ex-husband who doesn't pay you, every day send gratitude to that person. And they were doing it. And some of them really realized, oh, the relationship changed. He started to pay for the school fees. Gratitude is just a magic, but we don't do it. We always forget because it's so simple. It was, I think, the second thing. And the third thing is just, not letting it go, because when I say let it go, people misunderstand. But how I'm gonna let go? That person hurt me, that story hurt me. I don't know how to explain in English, because it's not just you let it go and you forget. It's just you understand why it happened. You take what you can, you take the gifts, but then you let go of the drama for yourself. Not for the other people, not for anyone involved, not in order to make peace and make them greater. No, no, no. My forgiveness philosophy starts with me. But it's just to reframe those stories so you don't carry those things anymore. And there were some stories that I was carrying, and when something that serious happened in my life, I don't want to carry them. I just need to understand how they help me and what I'm learning, because sometimes teaching is just putting boundaries instead of, sometimes teaching is getting rid of the drama. And the last piece was to feel this, we talk about this feminine energy, the divine feminine, the queen, the priestess, whatever you say, the better version of you. I started to tune into more. I started to talk with her more. And I was like, what would she do in this situation? And I learned it from one of my coaches. Like, what would that version of me do in this situation? And the more I closed my eyes and talked to that version of me, she was like, ah, it's not worth it. Or she was like, go for it, do that. So I was just, I was kind of, your inner voice has everything to guide you, but if you don't usually use it. So I really switched to that, even for a big business decisions. I was like, okay, what we should do.
I
I think
l-
all of those.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you so much. That was very, very useful. And I totally agree with you with the gratitude thing. I'm running a 22-day gratitude challenge at the moment. We're on like day 10 today. But because like you say, you kind of forget. I just stopped being grateful. Not that I wasn't grateful, but you just wasn't really happening.
Exactly.
And these last 10 days, just getting back into the gratitude practice and really feeling it's completely changed my days and how I react to things. So that one is, I mean, everything you said was powerful, but because I'm doing the gratitude thing at the moment, so I just wanted to really hone that in because that is just so important. And also the letting go of the energy for yourself. I love that. That's something that
Exactly.
we really need to remember. Yeah. But wow, thank you so much for that. That was awesome. Now, you're talking about the feminine energy, which I think is a great way to dovetail into the topic. So, when you filled in the form to come back on my podcast, you chose the topic how to balance feminine and masculine energies at the workplace. So, Gul, do you mind sharing with us why this topic is, important for you to share your wisdom around? What's your backstory?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So my backstory is actually I started my corporate career immediately after university, and I worked very big multinationals like Procter and Gamble, Coca-Cola, Amazon, and always my work life was, busy, stressful. All the deadlines are due yesterday. I'm coming from such a background, and in that world, which I loved, by the way, I can go back to corporate tomorrow. I really loved it. I didn't leave it because I didn't love it. I left my corporate job because I was doing both together. At some point, I have to choose because there is one me and there is too much work. I really loved corporate life, but I realized that corporate life, I was really operating from my masculine side. Yeah, I was really operating from a side of me, go, 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 do, process everything with your mind. So I didn't let my intuition to come, and I didn't let my kind of voice to come, my authentic self, my feminine, because for me, feminine energy is not just I put lipstick and go with my heels. If you like it, do it. But for me, feminine energy is also, being able to share your voice, being able to, confront if you need to, being strong. It's like a water, the water can take any shape. It's very calm, but also it can float and get rid of anything on the way. So we are also very powerful. But what I've noticed those years, most of the sicknesses and the diseases that I have is because either I was not owning my truth or I was not saying, like thyroids. I had a problem with the throat a lot. This is why I'm so obsessed with owning the truth. And so all the small things, and we spend a lot of time at our workspace, right? How much? Like 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, depending on the country. You spend a lot of your time there. And I was struggling a lot with the power struggles, how to treat my team, how to treat my bosses. I was doing a very good job, but inside I was feeling more and more masculine. So I had to learn how to be feminine, which is very weird because the things I had to relearn are coming from the ancient wisdom. In that I didn't invent anything, right? Being feminine has been there for centuries and I didn't invent anything. But it amazed me how much I had to put myself back or hold myself or try to look like an iron lady. And with the new generation, I see that there is a lot of potential for people to own their voice. And for females, why don't we own and balance those? And I start to educate companies around it. I start to do some trainings around it with the companies that I worked before, with the other companies now. And I see there is a lot of potential there. There's a lot of demand because the women are finally ready to own their voice and bring their authentic self. Because before, if you're ambitious at a workplace, they label you. For men, they're hardworking, but for women, she's a bit bitchy, she wants too much. But why? Why are we getting these labels? Because usually we also operate from a wounded feminine side. Because we've been suppressed or we couldn't say, so when we talk from a wounded place. So this is why it's so important for me to reach me 10 years ago to tell that version of me, hey, you know what? A new way is possible. It's all about balance because we also need masculine qualities, right? You need to get things done. If you're working, if they're paying you salary, I hope you're process oriented and you know how to get things done. So we also need this masculine drive, but we can balance both. So for me, it's more about balance, not getting rid of one, not showing that as of now we're going to be feminine. Can we bring this balance and harmony to the workplace?
I love that. I want to ask you because you said you realized that you'd be more masculine, so you had to bring the feminine in.
Yeah,
I think for most women, they wouldn't even recognize that as being more masculine. It's just like, I just needed to do more because that's what work demands of me. So, how did that
exactly.
realization come to
Exactly.
you? Because unless you are in that world where you understand these energetics, you wouldn't even pick up that you were becoming more masculine.
Yeah, amazing question. So once I ran a course about how to embrace the feminine energy, and the first chapter was realize, like realize. Realization is that you cannot heal anything or change anything if you're not aware of it. So I usually say, first of all, the body never lies. The body always gives you physical symptoms. If you are having, for example, for me, I had sore throat all the time. In the end, they diagnosed me chronic sore throat. I don't have a chronic sore throat, not anymore. It totally disappeared from my life because I was not owning my truth. Or thyroids, I don't have thyroids anymore. So one thing you can check is the physical symptoms. Like, it's just one of them. Sometimes we have fertility issues, which I also go through fertility issues. When you operate from masculine side for so many years, obviously you have fertility issues. So, the one thing you can check, the body never lies. Maybe you have always your neck is confrontation. When you don't want to confront someone, you have neck pain, or the stomach pain, you hold the anger, then you have ulcers. So one thing that made me realize was through the body talk. But the other thing that you can look at the symptoms, but what do we do when we don't want to realize? And we don't do it because we're bad or mean. We're not aware of it, as you say. The symptoms that I had, because I had to look that I had a problem in my life and I was avoiding it, was overworking. The thing that I used to hide, well, I have so much work. I have overworking. So when you keep saying yes to other things and don't prioritize yourself, probably because you don't want to see something. Yeah, overworking. The other one is overgiving. Again, you don't want to look at yourself. I need to do it for my in-laws. I need to do it for my friends. I need to do it for my boss. I need to, like, you do it for everyone. Overgiving is not okay. You need to balance. You need to give and take, give and take. Overworking, overgiving, overeating. Unfortunately, ladies, overeating is also is a sign that something is wrong, because when we're in a bit more harmony, obviously, because our body is our temple, we want to be more healthy, so we make more conscious choice. But you don't do this unconscious choice, again, because you're ignorant, because there is something going beneath it, and you want to put it down. Let me drink this wine, let me eat this extra ice cream. So overworking, overeating, overgiving, or body never lies. Check for your diseases, discomforts.
Hmm. So for you, it was the sore throat and the thyroids that made you realize? Is that what made you realize you were
No, they
becoming
were
more
just the
masculine?
symptoms. They didn't make me realize. They were trying to talk to me and I didn't understand. For me, my right hand was stuck. So one day in the office, I couldn't do this move. It was completely blocked. And they diagnosed me with overuse disease, which I don't overuse my hand. I'm not a gamer, I'm not a coder. So it didn't make any sense. So I couldn't do this move and my hand was in a cast for 2 months, and they did therapy, nothing like physiotherapy and etc. I was stuck. So this is why stuck is my niche. And my body was telling me, you're so stuck. Literally, my body stopped itself. And then I had to get an operation, but in my scans and MRIs, there was nothing. So no logical explanation. And in the end, after 3 months of therapy, they say, okay, we're going to do an operation to see what's going there. And I'm right-handed, so I didn't want to get the operation. This is how I started. Then I start to see someone who can help me to understand what is wrong with my life. And this is how I started, actually. The
Mm.
body sends kind messages that we ignore. So then I had to go back and solve all the other things.
That's so interesting. It's, yeah, like you say, the body never
Yeah.
lies. I was telling you before we jumped on that I took 8 month break last year, and it was because my body was telling me you need to stop. And then I went, no, 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 and then I got really sick.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And it's not just a one-time thing, right? It can happen again and again. The only thing is when you know how to read it, you're a bit more mindful about it, and you take these precautions a bit more faster, let me say. For example, right now I have a little herpes here, and it usually comes out when I go back all the time. That when it comes out, I can say it's the weather change, but I know there is a similarity. And every time I feel like I'm not good enough, I question self-love and all these things, well, it just pumps up. But before I was, putting all the creams and making a bit mess. Now I'm just writing a letter to myself. Okay, you're doing great. What happened? Who triggered you? Now it's just fast. So also don't think that there is this magical thing. You're going to do it once and, oh, it's all okay. Nothing will happen to you again. Whatever working, just you need to keep doing it.
Yes, it's a reminder to keep doing the work, like it, because it kind of all comes
Exactly.
back down to your self love and self acceptance, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And
Mm.
sometimes we overcomplicate things. Sometimes my ex-clients reach out to me, oh my God, I'm having all these things. I was doing so well, but then I stopped doing meditation and journaling, and now I'm in this mess. What can I do? And can we work again? And I just send them a voicemail saying that just start with the basics first and let's see if it can help you. Maybe you don't need any more sessions. And 90% of the time, they start with the basics, they journal a bit more, they do their meditations, they forgive who they need to forgive, just basic work. I'm not talking about 3 hours a day, 10, 15 minutes a day. And immediately the thing starts to resolve itself.
Mm.
And I always say that, like, don't overcomplicate. Always go back to basics.
Mm. I love that. I love how you do that for your clients. You're not like, oh yeah, come back for a session. It's like, okay, let's try this first before you come back. So I love that because I think as coaches we're here to um teach them to look after themselves so that they're not dependent on us, right?
Exactly. Because probably same with you. None of my drama came when I was going for a session. It hunts me down at night. It hunts me down when I'm alone. It comes at the moments where I'm by myself. So I need to find a way in order to pull myself. This is why I love teaching these things at corporate life, because what are you gonna do? You have a meeting in 10 minutes. Are you gonna call your coach or your psychologist? Or no, you don't have such a time. You need to put yourself together. So these mindfulness tools and techniques can really help you in order to shift your energy really fast. So I think this is why I'm passionate person to share all these things, because it can really help you in those circumstances. What are you gonna do? Maybe your in-laws are coming and you had a struggle with them. You're gonna excuse yourself and go, this is not real. We
Yeah,
need to find a bit more practical things that can help us during the day.
I love that. And that is absolutely true. You can't just ring a friend every single time something happens. So then, Gul,
Exactly.
you realized that you needed to balance your masculine energy and bring in more feminine. So, what were some of the things that really helped you to find that balance or that harmony, that dance that really allowed you to be able to utilize both those energies in their divine states rather than the wounded states?
Yeah. So to be very honest, most of the, how to be feminine and etc., all the healing space that I did some research was really about, the body, like love your body, pamper yourself and all these things. But when I started, it didn't resonate with me. Like I was trying to do things, the affirmations and everything, but something was always missing. Then I realized, first you need to do the realization, like what wounded me. It's not to go to pity party and, this happened to me, da da da. But usually we hold a lot of shame, a lot of guilt, and a lot of jealousy as women. Especially depending on your culture. My upbringing is more conservative. I'm Turkish. So I'm coming from a very conservative culture where being woman is not easy. Let me just say that. There is a lot of shame of the neighbors or the relatives, how you behave and etc. And it's most of the, I think, Eastern cultures are more or less the same, right? There is a lot of shame on being a woman already. There's a lot of humiliation. So for me, what really helped me first to go back and reframe those stories. Like, why did person told me that? What did I learn from it? How I make me strong? Oh, okay, maybe in those years I needed to put my walls and be strong. But now, as a grown-up woman, I can shift the things a little bit. So first, it started with realization. Okay, some work needs to be done. And then really understanding and, liberating myself from those stories. Like knowing that, okay, they happen, what I'm learning from those, how they made me, because all these things in the end, they shape you rather than, oh my God, this happened to me. Okay, how they help me to be me, and what is the wisdom I'm taking from those stories. I think this was the biggest part. Then I think I could go back to embracing it now with more self-worth work, like affirmations to say that I love myself, that I'm shining every day, I'm beautiful, all these things. And then also the body work at the same time. Because we're living in this body, it's a huge part of the feminine energy. But when I tried to start with the body, it didn't. So it's kind of mind, body, and soul all together. I wish to say something a bit more simpler, but then I would just lie and say, yeah, just touch yourself and love yourself. You feel it didn't work for me, so I needed to do the whole package.
Mhm. Yeah, I think my body part came in afterwards. I was like, when I first started doing my work, it was very mind. Then I went into the spirit, and my last part was the body. So probably very similar to you. I couldn't quite. Well, I didn't have that realization that I needed to love my body, but then it was also very hard to bring it all together. But now it's all together, which is good. Um, so
Yeah,
talking about the workplace, so you found your
yeah,
balance between the feminine and masculine. I really would love to know, how did you then bring that into your workplace? Because it's such a foreign concept, like you say, most workplaces are very masculine. It is go, go, go. It is, you don't really use your feminine energy. So how did you bring that in, and not just for yourself, but for your workplace?
yeah, yeah. So I was very lucky that time because when I was doing it, I had this side. That time I was working at Amazon here in Europe, at their headquarters, and I was also doing these sessions. Then at some point I was doing 50%. I was a part time and I was doing the sessions. And when COVID came, everybody was burned out, locked down in the houses. The apartments are very small here, so you suddenly, especially when you're locked down with the kids, with the husbands, with the partners, so there's an ongoing restaurant work in the household, but then you need to work at the same time. But everybody's fit on Instagram. Then you need to do sports because it was a lot, especially for the woman. And that time it came from top down. One of my managers told me, can you create a series, mindfulness, to help employees to be less stressful, to prevent burnout when they're working from home. So this was the first time when I started to talk about this concept at the workplace. And the beauty of those time is that you can ask anything and gather data. Data is everything. So when I was asking those questions to the people, what are the topics that they want to learn a bit more about? I see there's a huge, huge demand on this topic, because people are really changing. I think the shift, what I witness, I don't know if it's true, it's just my point of view, is just this new generation who's coming now and who is becoming maybe the entry level managers or mid managers. They are different than the generation before, because generation before, It's okay. You don't need to be feminine. You need to be the go, 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 get. But as you see with everything, with climate change, with all these kids raising their voice, the TikTok and everything, the new generation is like, no, it's me. Like there are things I want to say. There are things I want to share. So I think it's also really changed the workplace, because right now employers, one way or another, have to accept, like for the first time, mental health awareness, burnout, stress. They're really, really important topics at the workplace. When I started working, when I say you will understand my age, though, almost 20 years ago, there was no such thing as mental health. Like, mental health. Yeah. Okay. You read a book. It was something like that. Or there is no such thing as let's bring this feminine power. But right now in companies, women are getting together. There are women days, and it's just a one day. There are many programs that they can help the women. So I think right now it's just not me. It's that this shift is happening everywhere in the world.
Hmm.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry if it's an answer to your question, because I started from somewhere. I can't find myself somewhere else.
it's absolutely fine.
Feminine.
Um,
I'm just following the flow.
what I'm going to say is we've got people in the audience. If you've got any questions, put them in the chat, and then later on, we'll get Gul to answer for you, or later on, if anyone wants to call in, that's also fine, but not right now. Just type in questions if you have them now. But okay. So, yes, I definitely agree. There's so much more women empowerment and movements going on where we are supporting women. But what I find is still like, yes, we are supporting women, but bringing the
Yeah.
feminine energy in is still not really
Yeah.
happening.
How do
It's kind of like two separate things. It's like, yeah, we're empowering women, but we're not actually teaching them how to be more like, bringing in the feminine energy.
Yeah.
Do you mind talking a bit about that, or like what your thoughts are around that?
Yeah. No, great question. Because, ladies, nobody's gonna do for you. You have to do it for yourself. If you wait your company to teach you feminine energy, I hope you can see it in this lifetime. I hope you're fortunate enough to see it. But it's our job, actually, because in the end, it's a choice, it's a decision if you want to bring it or not. So I always say the first thing, it needs to start with your own desire. And if you have your own desire, then just the basic, what is feminine energy, right? Feminine energy is just balancing giving and taking. So if you're over giving at the workplace, it is time for you to own your voice and start saying, you know what? I've been doing this. In return, I want to do that. I know it's not easy in the beginning, so I'm not saying it's just one day you realize and you go and you talk, but with basic exercises, basic teachings, you can really bring it up more, up more, up more. So for me, the first most important thing was to be able to own who I am and be able to share it, not hiding, not holding it. And the easiest way for you to do it, especially if you're having some throat issues and etc., before sharing it, you can share it, like put it on a piece of paper, write about it, see it, because when you see it, when you write about it, it goes to your subconscious mind. So your subconscious mind also accepts, okay, I want to say these things. So being able to share what you want to share is a very, very important feminine aspect. The second thing is forgiveness is also very feminine. You know, when there's a drama, when there's a conflict at the workplace, but I don't mean forgive them and let it go. I mean understanding how you can solve this issue for yourself rather than them is very feminine issue. So understanding, okay, what they're going through, what I'm going through, what can I do on my side in order to let this story go is very feminine, rather than creating chaos and drama there. And you realize when you make those steps, usually the other people also make the steps, and you're less stressed for yourself rather than them. And the other one is that when we're talking about all this forgiveness and voicing, the feminine aspect is viewed as very weak. Understanding that there's like in English, there's a difference about being nice and being kind. They're two different things, being so nice. So I think it's a bit more understanding yourself, but being firm is also very feminine. Firm with yourself, setting your boundaries very clearly. Those are my boundaries. Those are not my boundaries. And I know it doesn't come true like that. Otherwise there would not be such a big industry of coaching and healing and books. But it all starts with realization accept things and will, okay, everybody does it. I can also bring those aspects more to my life. And it
Mm.
starts with you. So one thing I realized, I know you're gonna hate me for saying that, I was always expecting my employer to do those things for me, right? I was there as well. I was always blaming the employer. I was expecting them to. You can do that, and I did that as well. But in the end, it makes you keep stuck there. It makes you keep in this game. You can start to do it more and more for yourself, more and more for more yourself. And you can start to demand those things from your companies as well. And most of the women that I work with, actually, they first demanded their companies, okay, I want to do a coaching, but I want to do wellness coaching. I don't want to do a leadership coaching. And at first the companies were like, no, you can only get leadership coaching. But they insisted because they see, look, my life is a whole. It's not just business. And another thing for feminine, we don't just do business. We're not robots. Your life is a whole. So if you're maybe having a problem at your marriage, right? Maybe it affects your business. So you don't need to look at here. You just need to look at there. You're trying to solve the struggle here. Why I'm having this problem with my boss. Maybe he's reminding your husband. You just need to look at here, you know? So I also realized that when you do a bit more holistic approach for yourself, business is just one part of it. When, especially as feminine females, we're happy in different areas of our life, it affects everything. It affects everything. So I think this type of work is growing and it's really needed. And I know it's hard to bring, but it requires a bit effort. On this one, I'm with you, but simple. It's not overcomplicated.
Mm. Yeah. I always say simple but not easy. And I totally get, like, I can see exactly, where we're getting at with the, it starts with us. Because when I used to work in the hospital system, it was very much, we blame the employer for not providing this, that, or the other. We never take self responsibility, and until we do, nothing's going to change. So I really love that you brought that up because, yeah, it really all
Yeah,
starts with you, and it's that, it's very cliche and you probably hear it all the time, but it is, once one person starts, then it really does ripple out because your other people see you do it and it gives them permission to then also have a voice as well. So, yeah, it's scary, but it's
exactly.
important. Yeah.
Yeah. But it always
Um,
pays out for your career. So I always tell my clients, so I have very good data. I think 85 right now of my clients change their jobs when they work. We never work on the job issue. And when we start, they always say, but no, I don't want to change my job. I don't think it's going to be me. I just say, this is the data. Let's see what's going to happen to you. What we witness is when you really start to take care of yourself, put yourself first, your self-worth increase. Everything is energy. When you see yourself more worthy, when you feel more worthy, when you act from that place, obviously universe gives you something better. So it always starts with the self-work. I always say, don't worry about the work. First, work on yourself. The more you feel worthy, the more worthy jobs you're going to attract. It's all about energy. Our job is to take you there. When you're there, you're going to attract the things here. And when we begin, we start about gratitude. So I know it's very simple, but there was a time in my career where I really hated my boss. God. I never had it before. So far, I was so fortunate. I always loved the people that I work with. They were all amazing, inspiring people. But there was one, oh my God. And I was just trying to do the basics. And I started to write gratitude about this person every day. And it was very hard because I was like very angry in the beginning. Why I'm grateful? Like, he's so detail oriented. Why I'm grateful. Okay, it's good that he can catch all the mistake, but it's also micromanagement, right? I hated it at that time. But this teaching is gonna work. I was really forcing myself to see the gratitude, the good things and writing thanks to him, just to try to shift the energy. And I did it for 3 months. And at some days, because I couldn't find anything, I was just writing. I think he's a good father. He has nothing to do with me, right? He's a horrible manager. But I'm like, I feel like he's a good father. I can be grateful for that. So I was just writing this thing and I was just hoping the relationship, the energy, because the basics always work. What happened is sometimes you're obsessed. When you do these things, let the universe do on your behalf. Don't try to control what's gonna happen because divine intelligence is greater than us. And what happened is it didn't go through the way I wanted. One day my manager came and said, "Good, they're taking you away from my team. The management decided you report to another team. I don't know how it happened." It's like, I know. I've been doing gratitude for last 3 months. In the end, they heard me, and in the end, my problem was resolved. What I see is sometimes when we do these thing activities, we do it from a place of attachment. Like it has to come this way. No, feminine energy. It can come from all different ways. I'm just open and I just accept. I don't know where it can come from because we don't have the divine intelligence, right? We can do what only we can do, but it can come, the reward can come from many different places. So also keep an eye on it. You just do these things for yourself, but the more you raise your vibrations, the universe always responds. Always.
I love that example. And that is so true because you're doing gratitude hoping that the relationship between you and your boss will change, but then the universe is like,
Yeah,
okay, we're just going to take you away so that you don't even need to worry about that. So I love that it can come in unexpected ways.
exactly. Exactly.
Mm. So, Gul, we do have a question from you, from Nadia. So the question is, Gul, you
Yeah.
mentioned forgiveness. Could you give us some examples of what feminine energy is related to? So I think the question is, how does forgiveness relate to feminine energy?
Yeah. Really good question. So for me, I see forgiveness is a way of self-liberation, right? It's kind of a freedom. Because when you forgive for yourself, because I want to underline it, sometimes when I say when you forgive, it's all about, oh, let me understand that person and forgive and da, da, da. So I don't, like, if they hit me, they hit me from here as well. Like this, I don't believe. If they hit you, maybe forgiveness is you put the boundaries, they don't hit you again, you know? So I see it's really, really not female though, feminine energy, because feminine energy is a bit more forgiving and understanding, but at the same time very strong. So all these memories or all these people who hurt you, who did wrong and etc., we really carry it in our system. And when you look at all the diseases like anger, for example, sits in our liver, or according to Chinese medicine, or resentment also sits in the gallbladder or liver, I guess. So all these emotions are sitting on us. Like you feel it. I don't need to tell it. When there is someone that really hurt you, you feel it in your bones, in your body. So the more we forgive, and forgiveness in a sense, it happened to me, why I'm learning from it, why I need to let it go, how it made me stronger, how it made me more unique, like what are the lessons I get from it and how I can prevent it. When you do this work, it really empowers you, because instead of staying in the blame game, which is very wounded feminine, blaming, complaining, you really empower yourself. You take your own actions in order to feel good about yourself, and you let the story go. It's like the water, you can remember of water. When water is stuck, it's dirty. It starts to get dirty. But when the water is flowing, the water is more clean. It's the same with our soul. For me, I really associate feminine energy with water. It's more in the flow. It's not to go with the flow even. It's just you are more flow. You become the flow the more you let go. And it's totally to liberate yourself. I see this. And the more we're liberated, the more feminine we are. Because then we can own our voice. Then we can say what we need to say. Maybe you're going to forgive and you're going to realize, after you realize the lesson, we're going to give the forgiveness meditation, by the way. Good that
Mm.
they asked this question. I recorded a meditation for actually my clients. It's in the meditation kit that I give to my clients, my private clients, but we decided to give just one meditation from there. And I picked forgiveness. Why? Because everyone I work with, every story, everyone, like I have, and I did more than 6,000 hours. I have very good data. Everyone I work with, their issues are resolved with forgiveness. Either themselves, usually themselves, like 80% themselves, or the other person. So this is why we drafted a meditation which starts with for you to forgive yourself and let go of the other person. And in the end, even in the end, this meditation, I always ask, okay, you let this go. What do you want now? So when you put your focus on what you want now, you really raise your vibration and it helps you to attract more. So this is why forgiveness, if you ask me, is the key for any self transformation. Is the key. For feminine energy is the key. If you want to have more wealth, if you want to work on money consciousness, starts with forgiveness. If you want to attract a new job, start with forgiveness. Soulmates, start with forgiveness. And this I guarantee.
I love that.
For everywhere.
I want to ask you around forgiveness. Do you forgive the other person, or do you forgive yourself, or do you do both? Because, obviously in every situation there's two parties. So, yeah, who do you
Exactly.
forgive? Yeah.
Yeah. So forgiveness is a bit complicated, right? Because it's not the same. If it's your, let's say, someone in the workplace, maybe you just do one meditation and one journaling and it's gone, right? But maybe it's the ex-partner who really harmed you and you try to take them in front of you in the meditation and you're even more angry, right? It doesn't resonate, it doesn't go. So first we need to understand that forgiveness may take time depending on who you're trying to forgive, okay? If there's more drama in it, maybe you're trying to forgive someone who really scarred you. There you need a bit professional help. There are different types of forgiveness. And I always say with your parents, it's also very different because there's also unconditional love. So you're angry, they give you all these things, but at the same time, they love you and you love them. So it's again a different type of forgiveness and you cannot remove them from your life. You're going to see them again. So this is why I have different approaches to forgive different people. But it all starts with you. First, do the work on you. First, forgive yourself. It is the key so that you can start forgiving the other person. I never start with the other person. I will start with myself or with the client first. Why did you put yourself in this situation? Because even though we say, you did this to me, we're very angry. We carry the guilt, we carry the shame, we carry the humiliation. With everyone I worked, even though they say they're angry at the other person, the person that they're the most angry at, that the most resentful, they betrayed most is themselves. So first we start with the other person. And in the meditation that we're going to give to you, you will see we start with yourself. Then we ask if this person is in your life every day or not. Because if this person is in your life every day, again, it's a different story. Because you're going to see them every day. So if you can remove them from your life or no. Some people you can remove, but we all have these relatives that you need to see in Christmas or Eid, You have to see them, or in a wedding or a funeral. What are you going to do? Maybe it's your ex-partner, you share the custody of your child. What are you going to do? So there's these things in life as well. So if you're going to see them or not, it's a bit different work. If you're not going to see them, you take the lessons, you just understand, okay, this is what I learned, this is what I'm going to do again. But if they're in your daily life, are you close with them? You want to keep them. For example, if it's my husband, and let's face it, in marriages, these things happens all the time. You drive each other crazy because a soulmate also needs to show you your darkest side as well. You mirror each other all the time. Maybe you just do a basic Ho'oponopono exercise. You just forgive and you're just going to shift the energy between you two. You don't need to go all this drama or trauma. It's just one basic exercise. And if you see them every day, I always say it's a bit different because you want to keep the love as well. So you just want to let go of this negativity, but keep the love. And if there's someone that you need boundaries, it's a bit different. You need to put the walls and own your voice so that you can respect your boundaries. There is not one fits for all in terms of forgiveness, but we pick the meditation that can help you with 80% of the people that you need to forgive, and it starts with you, then with the others. But there's always the others.
Amazing. I'll have the link to the meditation in the show notes. So for anyone who watches the replay, it'll be there in the show notes. So you can click on it and get the free meditation from 𝐿. I hope, that answered your question, Nadia. So um, I'm going to open up. If anyone wants to actually be brave and call in, you can do it now. But we will continue the conversation. And if anyone calls, then we'll answer the call then. So this question popped up a few times and I did, then I got distracted, but it keeps coming back. So I want to ask you,
Sure.
with the women that you work with your clients, how, like, you did say like overgiving, overworking,
Eating.
overeating are, signs of where you are quite
Yeah.
masculine. But are there any like other particular traits or things that show that they have been operating in more masculine energy?
Um, in terms of disease or
Um, Maybe more in their life, like how it shows up in their life, or even in disease. Yeah, like have you seen any common threads in your clients?
yeah, I see. So overworking, overeating, overgiving is one of them. The other one is actually fertility issues,
Mm.
directly correlated, I can say, with the masculine energy, at least with all the cases that I work. The issues with the stomach, because stomach, is also, you can think about the basic chakra systems, right? So basic chakra system always gives us where to look, like the issues about stomach, this area, because it's when you're over masculine, then you have tendency to burn. We all need to balance. So the body never lies. Usually the body gives us the symptoms. The other thing is usually, when a feminine is not operating from that state or balancing that state, you're not happy. You have everything and you feel like there is something missing and your light is missing. Yeah, like you don't need to get sick. We know, we know. With every woman, they don't come to me and saying, I am not feminine. Like I don't have clients like that, to be honest. I don't know, we don't have this awareness, but they come with us saying that, okay, I have this struggle going on in this area of my life, or I have the job, I have the family, my kids are amazing, but I'm not happy. I don't have the purpose. So it usually does not come that they're sick or they want a bit better. They want a purpose in their life. And most of the women I work with, they're really high achievers. They're high achievers. They have their good careers, but somewhere they did everything they do. What helped them up to here is not taking them there. So there is nothing wrong with being masculine. It gave them all this career, all these labels, all this money. So it's perfect. But they reach a state in their life that they want to be more easy, with more flow, and they want things a bit more simple in their life, and they want to feel aligned. They want to feel good. So these are all the symptoms. Maybe you have everything, but I always say, when you put your head to your pillow, at night, you know, it's just you and your subconscious or your inner voice. You know if there's something wrong or not. Nobody needs to tell you. It's amazing if you can see it before all the symptoms. But
Yes.
if not, but it never lies.
Do you find with your clients that do they ever, I mean, if they've got you as a coach, so I probably won't, but maybe it's not your clients, but people where they realize that they've become very masculine, and then they just throw the masculine out the window and bring in the feminine. And how have you ever had people around you, whether clients or not, that have done that, and how did that work
No.
out?
No, I never see it. And I always say it. I think it's a bit more Instagram kind of healing, trying to look like everything is perfect. There's no such thing in life, right? We need both. It's like moon and the sun. You need both. Like you can meditate all day long. If you don't take the actions, your life will never change. So there's always a balance between this masculine and feminine energies. And I always say those ladies are already high achievers. They're overworkers. They're not going to leave it all and start to meditate and with the moon every single day. There's no such thing in life. Don't worry. You cannot go from one to the other extreme. And there's no need for us, especially the type of people I work. I also don't see the need for it as well. I need to, in order to show up at 9 in the morning, I need to be at very masculine state because, it's early for you, early for me, late for you. So you also need to flow in life. So I think we see balance. What we do is usually bring, so our aim is not to, we don't like masculine, let's get rid of it. No. Because what would happen if you get rid of sun? We just have the moon all the time. We don't want it, right? So it's all about bit balance. So our aim, maybe the masculine is here, feminine is here. Our aim is to bring it first to balance, and then maybe a bit more here, so you know how to do the harmony between those two. So I always say it's not, you cannot journal all day. There's no such thing. You need to keep up with life. Or you cannot meditate all day if you don't take the action, because these things will help you to listen to your intuition more. A very big aspect of feminine energy is intuition, being able to listen. And when you're able to listen your intuition usually give you tasks that are out of your comfort zone. So far, I don't have any intuition that tells you to be lazy, Don't worry, be lazy. Your intuition maybe tells you, okay, it's time to be healthy. And then you ask, and I hope it doesn't say maybe because I love coffee, but maybe your intuition tells you it's time to stop coffee. But then you need to do the work, maybe you're going to switch to decaf first, then you're going to switch to matcha latte and all this kind of early grey teas and etc. So you need to do these things with a masculine energy. Or maybe your intuition is going to tell you to be more visible. Like as coaches, I also work with a lot of entrepreneurs. I work with a lot of coaches. And the common thing we work with them is visibility. They're amazing. Their work is just pure, oh my God, gold, but they're holding themselves back. So we work on the visibility aspect to be able to shine. We work on their feminine energy, but without losing the masculine, because otherwise they're not going to do the podcast, or they're not going to send emails. They're not going to be active on LinkedIn. It's always a balance. I didn't see anyone, and I also don't know how to do that. Because I also don't operate from there.
Yeah,
I
and that's
believe in
good.
balance.
Yes, so do I. Um,
Yeah.
it's I asked you that because I have seen, like, on social media where, it's like rise of the feminine, and we don't want our mask, it. So that's why I was just asking whether you've come across anything. So I always find it very fascinating, how different people work, and I love your approach. Obviously, I really do believe that we need to have that balance, otherwise we're just not
Yeah.
going to be doing anything. So
Exactly. And look, there is no one right model. I think a good healer or a coach needs to help you to find your way. Okay. Because your way can be very different than my way. For example, right now, I'm working on very heavy spiritual sessions during the day. My work, I'm more of a spiritual coach. So it involves a lot of healing inside, right? So after those sessions, when I want to, relax and work out, I don't do yoga. I'm so sorry, because my work is already too spiritual. I need something to balance me. I go for a walk, I do Pilates. But there were some times when I was working in corporate, yoga was really helping me. So there's no one solution that fits, but for my clients, sometimes yoga helps them better. So there is not one solution that fits. So don't try to do what's on Instagram or etc. What you need can be very different. I have one client, she's in the board meetings. So we do this visualization. It's a very hard word for me to pronounce. Visualization exercises before her board meetings. And the way she sees how feminine she is, she has this amazing silk shirt. So she doesn't see herself with amazing red dress, and it's okay, because her feminine self is wearing this purse and she has this silk shirt and she feels so feminine. If I try to my feminine side is always she's wearing dresses. She's on the summery dresses. So if I try to impose what I believe in feminine, it's just gonna destroy her, because this is not where she's at right now, right? We all have these differences in life, and the life also has its own seasons, right? As you said, last year your feminine voice told you to take a break. This year your feminine voice says, you have the book, do the podcast. There is not one feminine voice. Life is always in this change and transformation. So please don't buy off this story how you should be feminine. There's one way, your authentic way. And your inner voice will tell you, and your inner voice will tell you different things depending where you're in life.
I love that. That is just pure wisdom there. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah.
I
No
really
worries. I
resonate with
see a
that.
lot of women. Yeah, because I really want to underline it. I work with a lot of women, and the amazing thing, they all thrive, but through different things. Through different things. They don't need to do what somebody imposes them because your inner voice always knows.
Mm. And it's interesting as you were talking about the
Yeah.
yoga and you going for a walk. When I was working in the hospital and quite masculine, I used to love doing yoga. So I spent a lot of time doing yoga. And when I left corporate and started doing my own business, because I'm bringing a lot more feminine in, I actually prefer going to the gym. I can't do yoga anymore. It's so I was like, oh, that
Yeah.
makes so much sense. Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because you
Um,
need something grounding because my work is so much there when I'm out because it's always the balance. I cannot stay there all day. Like I have a husband, I have I need to think at the same time think of did I unfreeze the chicken? Did I we have all these things. It's just life. I have clients coming, like I need to be present here. So it's always the balance. Sometimes in order to balance you need other things.
mm, yeah, so interesting. I love it. I'm just looking at the time. I'm like, oh, I can talk to you all day, but I can't, unfortunately. But I wanted to ask you one last question before we wrap up,
Yeah.
and that is, what would you love our audience to take home with them from our conversation, or even if it's something else that you really want them to take home with them?
Yes, simplicity. Please, I did that mistake. So I'm in this journey I ended 11 years now, and first 5 years were too heavy, too complex. I made my healing journey a suffering journey. I really I need to relive the drama and heal everything and blah, blah, blah. And the more I realize now, you cannot heal everything. It's not possible. It's never going to happen. Don't worry, you don't need to heal everything. Sometimes my clients come and it's just like, and they're single, and I'm like, in the third or fourth session, I'm like, okay, let's call the soulmate. And they're like, no, 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 first we heal everything. And I'm like, no, if you heal everything, you're gonna go to the other side. We cannot heal everything. Look, I met my soulmate after my divorce when I do this work, and I'm so grateful for it. But I still have issues about love and my mother or my father or etc. We all have those things. So please don't make it so complicated. You don't need to heal everything. You don't need to solve everything. And all this is the first thing. And the second thing, all the small steps, they compound. You start small. Everybody starts small. Nobody immediately starts, okay, tomorrow I will be a millionaire. Tomorrow I will have my soulmate. There is no such a story. You start small, you take the action, you keep the leap of faith, then it eventually, when you do the internal shifts, external always follows. One way or another, it's gonna follow. So your job is to do the internal shifts. It's universe, divine, God, whatever you say, fate, destiny, it's their job to do the rest. So we just are responsible for ourselves. And if you don't know where to start with self-liberation, start with forgiveness. It is the key. It's the key to all the healing or
I love that.
transformation.
Thank you so much, Gul, for this beautiful, beautiful conversation. I always love talking to you. You just got this beautiful energy about you, and everything you drop is like golden nuggets. I'm like, oh yeah, yeah, okay, that makes so much sense. So I'm gonna drop your meditation link in the show notes when this goes out to Apple and Spotify and all those places. But in the meantime, if people do want to find out more about your work, or just where to find you, where are the best places to find you?
Yeah, there are two places that are so the best is when you download the meditation, you're in my newsletter. I'm sharing every week from my heart the books that I read, the meditations I do. I'm sharing a lot of those things that I realize in the sessions. And every month we do a mastermind about mindfulness. I started it for my ex-clients actually in order to keep in touch. Now everybody's coming there. We have a topic of every month or every 2 months, depending. Now it's summer, it's gonna be every 2 months. I do winter every month, summer every 2 months, because I like to be out when there's sun. We do this free mindfulness nights where we do talk about a topic and always with a live meditation. Always it ends with a live meditation. So they can find all this information in my newsletters. But the two social media I use very actively is one is Instagram. and it's Gül Sönmez, and my LinkedIn. Actually, I share a lot on LinkedIn how to do it in the workplace and etc. So those are the two platforms that I operate.
Perfect. I'll have all your details in the show notes as well so people can find you. Thank you once again, Gul, for this awesome conversation.
Yeah, thank you everyone, and thank you.
Yeah, and thank you for everyone that joined us live and asked questions.